There's a massive revolution happening in the car industry right now. And believe it or not, it's not just about electric vehicles. It's about something even more fundamental: speed. The race to get new cars from the drawing board to your driveway is speeding up like crazy, and it's forcing literally everyone to rethink, well, everything. Today, we're diving into the great car acceleration. Okay, let's just cut straight to the chase. For decades, if you wanted to make a new car, it took 4, maybe 5 years. That was the standard. Now, car makers are in a flat-out sprint to get that number under 2 years. And look, this isn't just about being a little more efficient. We're talking about pure survival. This is the new battleground. So, how did we get here? What caused this massive shift? For generations, the car industry believed that a slow, careful, methodical process was the sign of a quality product. It was predictable, right? It worked. But the ground has completely shifted. With electric cars and vehicles that are basically high-tech computers on wheels, that old slow and steady mantra has suddenly become a huge liability. And this quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson just nails the situation car makers are in today. The market is that thin ice. Technology is evolving so quickly that a car designed 4 years ago can feel totally outdated on the day it's released. In this new world, speed isn't just a cool advantage, it's your lifeline. This timeline really shows you that old step-by-step process. A great example is the Renault Clio 5, a very successful car, but it took a full 4 years. Each stage had to happen one after the other. You had a year just for design, then another for engineering, a whole year for prototyping and testing, and a final year to get the factories ready. It was a total marathon, not a sprint. So, how are the big legacy giants supposed to deal with this new need for speed? Well, let's take a look at Volkswagen. Their answer? A huge, massive investment in a new research and development megacenter right in the heart of China. It's a direct shot at trying to match the absolutely blistering pace of that local market. And when I say massive, I mean it. We're talking 100,000 square meters. Just try to picture that. This is not some small satellite office. It's a behemoth, a complete development powerhouse, packed with over 100 advanced labs. VW is pretty much building a second R&D heart, but this time it's in China. So what does this new center actually let them do? Well, for the first time in Volkswagen's entire history, they can fully develop, test, and approve a new car platform completely outside of Germany. It's where they can integrate that all-important software and hardware testing, handle battery development, and, this is key, create digital features designed specifically for Chinese customers right there on the ground. And the result of all this? A 30% reduction in development time. That is a huge number. By putting all the teams together and letting them make decisions locally, Volkswagen is finally able to start chasing that China speed the market is demanding. And you don't have to take my word for it. The CEO of Volkswagen Group, Oliver Bloom, puts it perfectly. He says it's about being faster, more efficient, and closer to the customer. That really is the core of their whole in China for China strategy. But throwing billions at a new facility like VW did isn't the only way to get faster. Let's look at a completely different, maybe even more nimble approach. Our second case study is Renault, who found a clever shortcut to speed for their new electric Twingo by using some smart, cross-continental collaboration. So how did they pull this off? Well, the car's design was kept in Paris to keep that classic European feel. But all the really critical development work, that was handed over to a dedicated team in Shanghai. And this partnership was incredibly efficient. They went from just a concept to a real working prototype in only 9 months. And from that prototype to being ready for the factory, just another 5 months. That's incredible. And the results, well, they really do speak for themselves. This chart tells the whole story. Remember the Clio 5? 4 years. The more recent Renault 5 took 3. But by using this new collaborative model, the electric Twingo's entire time to market was slashed to just 2 years. They literally cut their development time in half. Now, this whole speed up isn't just about changing how you manage a project or collaborating with teams across the globe. It's also happening because of some really fundamental changes in the technology of how we physically build cars. The very rules of manufacturing are being rewritten as we speak. A perfect example of this is a technology called Gigacasting. It was pioneered by Tesla, and now a lot of others like Volvo are jumping on board.
Basically, you use these enormous presses, gigapresses, to stamp out a huge section of the car's frame as one single piece. So instead of welding together hundreds of little metal parts, you just make one big one.
And the difference this makes is just mind-blowing. I mean, look at this. The Model 3's frame was made of 171 different parts, held together with 1,600 welds. The Model Y, using Gigacasting, has just two main parts and zero of those complicated welds. That's not an improvement. That is a complete game changer for speed, cost, and simplicity.
You know, this new focus on speed isn't just a headache for the old guard. It's basically a wide-open invitation for brand new players. Take the tech giant Xiaomi. This is a company that had never, ever made a car before, and yet they launched a really competitive EV in just 3 years. How? Well, they used their deep expertise in building consumer electronics and developing software super fast to just leapfrog all the old, slow, hardware-focused ways of doing things.
Okay, so what does all of this mean for us, for you and me, the people who actually drive these cars? Well, this huge shift from a 4-year cycle down to a 2-year cycle means cars are going to start evolving a lot more like our smartphones. We can expect to see innovation happen way faster, get more up-to-date technology, and find features that are much more responsive to what's happening in the world right now when we go to buy a new car. All right, so let's boil all this down. What are the big things to remember here? First, China's speed is no longer a regional thing. It's the new global benchmark. Second, the center of gravity for car development is shifting from the west to the east. Third, software is now just as important, if not more important, than the hardware. And finally, new tech like gigacasting is totally changing how cars are made, making them simpler and way faster to build. And all of this leaves us with one last big, provocative question. As the whole industry accelerates, we're seeing this tension build. Is the future of the car going to be defined by that legacy of design and engineering from Europe and America? Or will it be shaped by the relentless, digital-first pace of China speed? The race is on, and honestly, the winner is anyone's guess. And that's our deep dive into the incredible acceleration that's reshaping the entire auto industry. Thanks so much for watching The Explainer. We'll see you for the next one.